Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's live stream on Mongoose version 9.0. My name is Nasser Qureshi. I work at MongoDB as a senior PMM. And today I have a very special guest with us. His name is Valeri Karpov, and he is the maintainer of Mongoose, along with a blogger, a published author, and a lot more. So let's start and jump right into it. Val, why don't you start by introducing yourself, and then talk a little bit about Mongoose and how you ended up maintaining it.
Great. Thanks, Nasir. Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me. My name is Valeri Karpov. I've been working in the Node and MongoDB ecosystem probably since around 2012, 2013. I was pretty early on. I started working with Mongoose originally because I wanted like a cleaner, more elegant way to work with MongoDB. And I wanted things like schema, validation, middleware. Mongoose fit really nicely into the way that we were doing things at the time, coming from Active Record and Rails. So I started working with Mongoose and ended up maintaining Mongoose since about 2014. So it's been almost 12 years of being the primary maintainer on Mongoose. I also run a small boutique dev shop called Meet It Software, where we use Mongoose to develop applications for all sorts of clients.
Nice. Thank you for that. That's awesome. 12 years. Wow.
Yeah.
So how would you explain Mongoose to, a JavaScript developer who's new to the MongoDB ecosystem and just wanted to, know what Mongoose is and what it does?
So Mongoose is a object modeling layer for MongoDB. If you've worked with ODMs or ORMs in SQL databases, it's similar to that, but for MongoDB. It provides you application level schemas, it provides you middleware, it provides you models, so you get something like the M and MVC, provides you validation, middleware, and kind of a more object-oriented framework for working with MongoDB.
Okay, so it just makes it simpler and sort of abstracts away the complexity for developers who are looking to work with MongoDB in JavaScript.
Yes, exactly. And
Okay.
yeah, one of the interesting things about Mongoose that I really like is the application level schema. That is a controversial thing, but I think it is the right way to do it in my experience, where you don't go full schemaless, but also your application is a source of truth for what is a valid document versus what isn't, which I find to make life a lot easier. No migrations, no DBA work.
Yeah, that's really important. It saves you time and a lot of effort. True.
Yeah, time, headache, bugs. If I had $1 for every time a bug happened because we added the SQL column in development, but we forgot to do it in production. Sorry, or something unexpected happened, and all of a sudden everything crashes in production miserably.
Yeah, we've heard those stories. Okay, cool. So if somebody's using the version before the current one, version 8, what would be like the top 3 reasons why they would want to migrate or upgrade to version 9?
Say the one feature that makes me want to upgrade everything is async stack traces. Mongoose has been in the JavaScript and Node.js ecosystem for a very long time. Mongoose actually started using promises before the MongoDB Node driver did. When Mongoose first became popular, callbacks were basically the only way to do async programming in JavaScript. And callbacks had a lot of downsides. Number one of which being that the stack traces, if an error occurred somewhere in async code, you wouldn't see the original call site that actually called your code. So that basically made it so that every time you saw an error in production, you would have a bit of a murder mystery on your hands as to where did this come from. You'd be searching for error messages with Control F as opposed to just looking at a stack trace like you would in just about any other programming language. So that's one feature that saves every developer, JavaScript, TypeScript, no matter what you're using, saves you time, saves you headache. makes your life easier.
Mm.
The second I would say is cleaner middleware. So part of what we changed in Mongoose 9 to better support the async stack traces is making middleware use async functions only. We dropped callback support there. And the third was stricter TypeScript support. In Mongoose 8, we were because of how flexible Mongoose is in terms of allowing say plugins, middleware to add new fields to your document. That makes it a little bit difficult for TypeScript to infer the correct types when you're creating or querying. We made for Mongoose 9, we erred on the side of making the types a little bit more strict. And the benefit there primarily is better autocomplete. So because TypeScript can infer what the types are within for a query or a document, now when you're creating a document or executing a query, Mongoose actually shows like correct autocomplete options, telesense, all that.
Nice. That's actually really refreshing because when developers are writing code and they don't have that option, it might take time to write that code, and having sort of autocomplete really helps you save time and effort as well. So awesome. Okay, so is it possible to have a little demo on these 3 new features and show the folks what they do and how they work?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just share my screen real quick. So I'm sharing my screen now. It's our screen inside. Okay, let me just move move the live stream off so I don't get an infinite window. And let's actually go here over to. So here in this code base, I have a user schema defined in kind of a similar way that you would in Mongoose for the most part. This user has a property age. Age must be at least 18. And here I'm going to go in and try to create a user with age 10, right? So I have 2 side-by-side terminals, one of which is running Mongoose 8, the other is running Mongoose 9. So here in Mongoose 8, I'm going to run my test script, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So you would expect to see a stack trace that includes test.js. But over here, you actually see this, which is Node.js's internal. This is Node.js's internal event loop processing, right? So you don't actually see the call site from where you called this function. And now, you can imagine when you've got a complex code base, that makes it so that you're kind of dead in the water when you see this. You just need to go in and try to guess where it came from. Now in Mongoose 9, we go here, run basically the same script, and actually you'll see test.js, the run function, is actually in the stack trace. So there are still a little bit of Mongoose internals, and there's still the process ticks and rejections. So it's not as clean of a stack trace as it could be, but at least it shows you your call site, and it shows kind of a little bit of the Mongoose internals where you're calling create calls save calls validate. That all kind of makes sense and all tracks. And it's certainly a big improvement over just process ticks and rejections.
Yeah, so it's sort of pinpointing where you can look. So it's not finding a needle in the haystack anymore. It's a little more.
Yes, exactly, because and in many cases, all you really have to work with is a stack trace, unless you're very disciplined about tracking kind of like the entire all the call context all the way down into your Mongoose middleware and validators, which most people are not. Frequently, all you just have is a stack trace, and that's it. So this helps you debug errors faster in production.
Nice. That's awesome. All right, let's move on to the next one on cleaner middleware.
Yeah. All right, let's take a look at the autocomplete side of things real quick, because that's also related, I think, to the cleaner stack traces. So again, in Mongoose 8, you would do. I forget. Am I in Mongoose 8 here or Mongoose 9? I think this is the right one. Okay. So if I go here and start typing out user.create, I will get yeah, I can, I get the age property, which is nice. If I go over here and add, say, a name property, I could go over here and start typing out name. Other neat thing is while our TypeScript types are a little bit more strict, they do also support Mongoose casting. And one of the things that got me into using Mongoose in the first place was, if we go all the way back to 2012 when I first started working with MongoDB, the MongoDB node driver, you had, in order to create a object ID, that required a callback, even though it was not asynchronous, which was just made code very painful to work with. So one of the things that Mongoose helped you clean up back in those days was converting strings to object IDs automatically. So in TypeScript, you could go in here and create an object ID explicitly, or you can just put a hex string, and Mongoose will accept that. But if you try to go here and try to put in, this should show an error eventually. Yeah, maybe I'm in just the wrong place. Let me see here. Is this going to work? Okay, well, I call demo effect on this one. Not sure why that's not working out. But at the very least, we can see that. At the very least, we can see that, okay, underscore ID should be an object ID or some casting properties. So for some reason, I don't know why that's showing up, but yeah, that's a problem for another time.
Okay. All right, cool. So these are the top three. Is there anything else you wanted to demo, Val?
Oh, there was the the cleaner middleware side of things.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and pull that up. So in Mongoose 8, we still supported this sort of syntax for middleware. So specifically, you used to be able to pass in a next function here, and this was how middleware worked with callbacks. So this syntax basically means before you save a user, execute this function, and this function will call the next function when it's done. However, in order to support async stack traces, we need to be async all the way through. So the instant that we start using callbacks, we would lose the call site. So async stack traces go away. So in order to support async stack traces, we had to go in and make it so that the only way to do async middleware was this, which is a lot cleaner. And we have supported async functions or async-based middleware since at least 2018. So it's not like we're leaving people high and dry with no time to migrate. It's been almost 8 years since we've supported this. So I think it was finally about time for us to say goodbye to calling next and callback based middleware.
Awesome. Thanks, Val. Okay, let's move on. Now, you've also been working on Mongoose Studio. Could you tell us a little bit about what it is and how it fits into Mongoose's developer studio workflow?
Yeah, Mongoose Studio is a MongoDB GUI that's more developer focused and less DBA focused. It infers a lot from your Mongoose schemas. Let me just pull it up because demo is worth 10,000 words, right? So for instance, this is Mongoose Studio, the IMDb movies collection from MongoDB Atlas. Excuse me. So if you go in here, we have autocomplete for properties based on your Mongoose schemas. So given that you have a Mongoose schema, I know that title is a string. I can go in here and say, doesn't equal. So I've got these sort of queries. Given that the query execution is also is JavaScript based, I can do things like make a query for created at, or rather, year is new dates. So this won't return any results, but it'll at least execute. So this is actually also perfectly valid. You could actually execute JavaScript in your queries. We also have baked in things like dashboards. So you go in here. List of dashboards that you can use to draw charts, and the charts all come in from the chat tab here. So let me actually just demo the chat tab over here. I can let me copy previously known messages so nobody has to watch me type. If I go here and say back to the movies database, I can tell it to draw me a pie chart of movies starring Jean-Claude Van Damme by genre. And I'll get a pie chart reasonably quickly.
That is so cool.
So what it actually does is it generates scripts for you, and you can review and execute the scripts right in here. The scripts run in a sandbox that's actually tied to your permissions as a user in Mongoose Studio. So you can go. So for instance, if you have read-only access, you can actually just go in here and safely execute some read-only code. And look here, I have a nice little expandable pie chart of Jean-Claude Van Damme movies by genre.
Nice. Yeah.
Should be able
no wonder most of them are action, eh?
Action, but there's also drama, comedy, adventure, thriller. Ooh.
I don't remember him doing comedy. Maybe I have to look into that.
Well, let's see. Let's see. What are the comedies? The Poor Little Rich Girl, Miss Lulu Bet, Now or Never, and Gertie the Dinosaur. I do not know any of these movies.
And I think I've heard about Miss Lulu Bet, but I haven't seen it though.
Yeah, I have not. Yeah, it's
again, does it give like, if we ask for like, release year or something like that, will it display that too?
Release year. Yeah, it will.
Okay.
So yeah, we have yeah. Nice. Oh, interesting. 1917, 1921. Strange. Okay. I'm not sure where. Oh, okay. That's because it's not filtering. No, it's only filtering by comedies. Okay. So I think it just lost context somewhere here. So I got a bug to fix. Okay.
Okay.
But the good thing here is I can go in. Let me just make this a little bit more accurate. There we go. Double Impact is technically considered a comedy, as is Street Fighter and Double Team. I'm not sure I agree with these assessments, but that's what the IMDb data set says.
I remember Street Fighter. That was a good movie. All right, cool.
That was awesome. Good. So there's that, and a couple of other things with Mongoose Studio. We're also using this as kind of like more of a higher level MongoDB GUI that lets so for GeoJSON data in particular is first place where we're utilizing this. So typically in a MongoDB GUI, you would just see like this. You would see coordinates, or you would see a multi-polygon as just a string, right? And whereas an array of points, and that's not very useful. So Mongoose Studio actually has the ability to display maps in line, and you can actually even edit the maps by with drag and drop. So hey, I updated Charlotte Center to be over there. And I have a polygon representing Charlotte, so I can go in here and redraw Charlotte to make it a little bit more concise because, hey, Concord doesn't count as real Charlotte. On the other hand, I have my daughter's mother-in-law lives in Matthews, so that totally counts as Charlotte. So I go and update that there, and hey, look, I have a new polygon for Charlotte. So yeah, higher. Kind of like a more higher level application focused MongoDB GUI for specifically for Mongoose developers that leverages Mongoose for schema-based autocomplete, for AI chat that's informed by your schemas as context, and for being able to infer when things are GeoJSON. A next step that we're working on is visualizations for vector data. So like we're going to have something like this for vector data as well.
Wow, that is going to be interesting. We'll surely bring you back again to talk about that for sure. All right, awesome. Thanks, Val. So I think the final thing is to talk about how Mongoose users can upgrade to version 9.0.
We have a nice migration guide on our docs site, mongoosejs.com. That lists out all of the breaking changes. In summary, the big one is the dropping of next support for middleware. Problem there is it may affect old plugins that rely on callback-based middleware. So that is probably the stickiest point. But for internal middleware, again, we've supported async-based middleware for 8 years now. So I imagine a lot of new applications already use the async-based middleware.
Okay. Okay. All right. Cool. So we'll share the links in our descriptions as we post on our channels. Anything else you want to share, Val, about Mongoose version 9.0?
No, I think that's about it.
Okay, perfect. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I hope you learned about version 9.0 and why you should upgrade to it. Also, use Mongo Studio. It's a really cool tool. I'll surely go in and explore it right after this call. All right. Thanks, Val, and thank you, everyone. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Bye.